IPIS, Integrated Place Intelligence System. We are proposing the development of an Integrated Place Intelligence System, or IPIS. IPIS is conceived as a digital platform for asset-based, participatory and adaptive development. At its center are four things: people, place, intelligence and action. The purpose is to help communities understand what they already have, connect their own knowledge with wider institutional information, make better informed decisions, and progressively take a stronger role in shaping their own development. People in Action. People in Action is a Grenadian organization working in participatory, asset-based and socio-ecological development. Our approach begins with what communities already have. That includes people and skills, culture and heritage, natural resources and ecosystems, livelihoods and enterprise, history and local knowledge, relationships and networks. Rather than beginning with a list of needs, we help communities recognize their assets, understand how their place functions, make informed choices and take increasing ownership of their development. That philosophy sits underneath the design of IPIS. The problem: a great deal of useful information already exists. The difficulty is that it is fragmented. Government information may sit in different ministries and documents. Local knowledge may live only in people's memories. Environmental, economic and social information may exist in separate systems. Projects may be recorded in individual reports. As a result, decisions are often made with only part of the picture. The problem is therefore not simply a lack of information. The real challenge is bringing information together around place. What we want to build. IPIS is designed as an adaptive management process. It should help a community move through a connected cycle. First, people learn. Then they map what they have. They understand their place and analyze what is happening. They identify priorities. They develop plans and determine the resources required. Projects are implemented, monitored and evaluated. And what is learned feeds back into the next round of decisions. The important technical principle is that these should not be separate tools. Information produced at one stage should support the stages that follow. A facilitated self-service system. We want IPIS to operate as a facilitated self-service system. People in Action develops the methodology, training and learning materials. Existing community officers, government officers and other appropriate facilitators can then be trained to guide communities through the process. The platform carries much of the workflow. The community supplies the knowledge, participates in the analysis and makes the decisions. This reduces the need for a large permanent delivery team while strengthening existing local capacity. The objective is community ownership, supported by trained facilitators and a well-designed digital process. Learning is built in. Training therefore needs to be part of the platform itself. Before users undertake an activity, they should have access to a short explanatory video. For example, what is asset mapping? Why do we use PESL? What is good governance? What is monitoring? What is an outcome? The objective is not simply to teach users which button to press. We want people to understand why they are doing the activity and how the information will be used. Each module can include a simple knowledge check, with the ability to review the material and retake it when necessary. Enter through the map. The map becomes the front door into IPIS. A user should be able to begin with the whole community and gradually move down to a specific neighborhood, coastline, watershed, road, facility or individual asset. This should feel like a living community map rather than a static administrative map. As information is added, the user begins to see the different systems that make the place function. The experience shown here is similar to the type of intuitive mapping interface we want. We are not prescribing a particular GIS platform, but we do want this level of usability. What do we have? The first major activity is participatory asset mapping. And when we say assets, we mean much more than environmental assets. The community might map natural resources, history and heritage, culture, people and skills, livelihoods, community organizations, infrastructure, agriculture and fisheries, tourism resources, public facilities, projects, risks and other forms of local capital. The principle is simple. Before asking, what do we need? Begin by asking, what already exists here? The platform should allow different categories to be turned on and off as map layers so users can explore them individually or together. Add an asset. Users should then be able to contribute directly to the community map. They might add a point, a route, or an area. A simple information panel opens and asks structured questions. What kind of asset is this? What is it called locally? Where exactly is it? Additional fields can then capture why the asset matters, who uses it, what activities take place there, its condition, concerns, photographs and other evidence. Some fields should use drop-down menus to keep information consistent. Other fields should allow people to describe their place in their own words. The system needs both structure and flexibility. A place is more than one thing. A geographical point should not be limited to a single meaning. Take a beach as an example. Fishermen may pull their boats there. Families may gather there. Children may swim there. Vendors may earn income there. Turtles may nest there. Offshore seagrass may support conch and other marine life. Tourism may depend upon it. Nearby roads and drainage may affect it. So IPIS should not simply tell us that this is a beach. It should help us understand the relationships, activities and values connected to that place. That is where mapping begins to become place intelligence. Layers of place intelligence. As more information is added, the value of the system comes from seeing different layers together. Ecosystems can be viewed alongside infrastructure. Livelihoods alongside economic activity. Heritage alongside culture. Facilities alongside services. Projects alongside risks. Boundaries, hazards and community priorities can also be added. This helps users move beyond isolated datasets and begin seeing relationships. The technical architecture therefore needs to allow multiple spatial layers to coexist, be switched on and off, and be associated with structured information behind each mapped feature. What applies here? The next question is, what applies to this place? Behind the community map, we want a structured knowledge library containing approved plans, policies, legislation, sector strategies, development plans, research, technical guidance and other relevant information. When a user selects a place, the system should be able to identify what information is relevant to that geographical location or issue. This is one area where AI-assisted retrieval and summarization could be particularly useful. But the AI should not make decisions for the community. Its role is to make existing information easier to find and understand, while keeping the underlying sources traceable. PESTLE analysis. Once the community understands what it has and what wider information applies, the process moves into analysis. The first guided tool is PESTLE. Political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental. Rather than presenting people with 6 empty boxes, the platform should guide them with clear questions. What policies or institutional decisions affect us? What economic conditions matter? What social patterns matter? What technology creates opportunities or challenges? What laws apply? What environmental conditions or risks should we understand? Users should be able to add notes, examples and evidence as they work. SWOT analysis. The next stage is SWOT. What are our strengths? What weaknesses are holding us back? What opportunities can we build upon? And what threats should we prepare for? The important design principle is that SWOT should build on information already gathered. Users should not have to begin again with a blank page. The map, community knowledge, institutional information and PESTLE analysis should all be available to inform the discussion. That is what makes the process cumulative. Each stage adds another layer of understanding rather than creating another disconnected document. From analysis to priorities, analysis must eventually lead to choices. The community might begin by identifying its top 20 projects, needs or opportunities. Those 20 are discussed and narrowed to 5. The final 5 can then be ranked through an agreed voting process. The platform should make this transparent. People should be able to see which priorities were selected and how they were ranked. The result is not simply a wish list. It is a set of priorities that has emerged from community knowledge, wider evidence, structured analysis and collective decision-making. Turn a priority into a project. Once a priority is selected, the system should help turn it into a project. The platform asks a series of guided questions. What are we proposing? Why is it important? Who benefits? What outcomes do we want? What activities are required? Who should be involved? And what risks need to be considered? The objective is to move a community from a broad idea to something structured enough to communicate clearly to government, partners, funders or investors. The project record should remain connected to the original priority and to the place on the map. Resources and costing. The next stage makes the project practical. What people and skills are required? What materials and equipment are needed? Are approvals necessary? What can the community contribute? What must come from outside? What is the timeline? And what will it cost? Because this is an asset-based system, the platform should deliberately identify local resources and contributions before assuming that everything must be purchased externally. That allows communities to see the real value of what they already have and can also reduce project costs. The costing process then produces a clearer picture of what outside support is actually required. monitoring and evaluation. Planning is not finished when implementation begins. Before a project starts, the community should decide how progress will be monitored. What will be measured? Who will collect the information? How often? What evidence will be uploaded? That might include photographs, documents, environmental observations, expenditure records, or project milestones. Evaluation then asks a different question. Did we make the difference we intended? Were the outcomes achieved? What changed for people, place, or environment? And what did we learn? The platform should make it easy to capture this information directly from the field. Return to the map and adapt. Then we return to the map. Projects, monitoring information and results remain connected to place. Users can see progress over time. Information can be updated. Conditions may change. Projects may reveal unexpected results. New opportunities may emerge. Old priorities may no longer be the most important ones. This is the adaptive part of IPIS. The system is not meant to produce one static community plan and then stop. It is intended to hold a continuing record of what the community knew, what it decided, what it did, what happened, and what it learned. Closing. This is the integrated place intelligence system we want to develop. A platform that begins with people and their knowledge, connects that knowledge to place through mapping and evidence, adds intelligence through institutional information, analysis and priority setting, and turns that intelligence into action through projects, monitoring, evaluation and adaptation. The technology itself is not the intelligence. People are. The role of the technology is to help communities see what they have, understand the systems around them, make evidence-informed choices and learn from what happens next. That is the system we would like to build with you.